Well, getting back to the serious issues at
Yeah.
hand, have you ever actually seen the IJ report? The
No.
one, no,
No.
you still haven't
It
seen it.
still was never produced. We got a lot of material that referenced it, but no, we
How
never.
did the judge allow that? He was so serious about how if it has even an iota, if there's any odor of anything related to
Yeah.
the IJ, I want it. And then they don't give it to him. How did he not lose his mind and throw Hunter and Shapiro in jail immediately?
Yeah, because number one, we were beyond the 11th hour of the trial, right? I mean, evidence had been closed and then it was reopened.
Ugh.
Number two, we had enough to where we could make our point to the jury, right? Things were not rosy. Things were not hunky-dory at the hospital. They did get re-credentialed, and candidly, I'm not sure how, but they got re-credentialed. The interesting thing is that there were around the IJ, the immediate jeopardy, and again, that is as severe a threat to a hospital as you can get. The only thing worse is they literally say, we're taking your hospital over today, right? So the normal course of an IJ, and immediate jeopardy is only administered in about 5% of all surveys at most, right? Typically what happens, Megan, is that the survey team discovers a problem and they literally just say, stop, this survey is over. You have to fix this before we leave, okay? And so you have to physically hand them a plan of correction that addresses the problem right now. So, and again, the survey is suspended. The survey is over. So then within 10 days, you have to have a multi-page, multi-detail, I mean, very specific plan for correction. And then within 23 days from the IJ being cited, you have to have executed that plan, okay? So in this situation, and this is why I would still love to see the actual documentation so I can put it together.
Oh, they've shredded that.
Very, very, very unusual.
The shredders are working overtime over there.
So they had a survey January 7th through January 11th. They don't issue a report for 3 weeks until January 31st. And on January 31st, they said, hey, not only did we find an IJ, but that immediate jeopardy goes back to September 20th, 4 months earlier, almost 5.
That doesn't sound like keeping up with what the protocol is, does it?
Well, it is. It can happen,
but how?
But, yeah.
The question is how.
It's unusual. There were so many odd things that contributed to the immediate jeopardy. There was an acknowledgement by both Dr. Sowers and by the head of risk management that there was no data to be assessed around quality assurance and performance improvement for 15 months. There's 15 months where they're in the ether. There's nothing there. How does that happen? I mean, did everybody just go on PTO for 15 months?
This is why I really think that this situation needs a state investigation. I actually think law enforcement needs to get involved because they're still hiding things. Well, wouldn't the state of Florida, or at least the medical board, the medical licensing board, want to know what in the actual heck happened here and why? Now that there's been this judgment, like maybe not before, okay, but now that there's been this judgment, now that the people of Florida have decided that this hospital was negligent, involved in, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress that led to suicide, these are very serious things. So maybe it's time for the state to get involved and really take a deeper look at this. I don't know. That's what I would want to do.
Yeah.
I do have another question for you about.
And
go ahead.
let me just, and I don't know what the state will decide. Obviously, I'm not advocating for any action. I'm,
I am.
I'm just right?
I'm gonna call the governor's office myself.
I thought it was interesting that Jules, who was in the courtroom every day, she actually sat next to somebody from the Joint Commission. On I believe 2 of the days of testimony. So there may be people who agree with you.
Well, now that's really interesting. So, well, that's good. I'm glad someone from the Joint Commission was there witnessing it, because there was definitely something going on that they still didn't want known. And listening to Mr. Hunter call it this Dracula that was buried years ago, what did you think about that? We thought we buried this Dracula years ago. I couldn't believe he said that out loud.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of the several unforced errors that took place by the defense team. I think that was a very poor choice of metaphor or analogy. I can't remember which. But
you think? Yeah, I think so too.
I think you'd like to do that one over.